Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Statesman Blitz. And Thomas, this time we're going to look ahead to a few games. There's some really good games, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's start from the top. Manor against LBJ. That's got to be a good one.
LBJ and Manor is a really good game. And credit LBJ, a 5A team, for scheduling 3 6A opponents in non-district play, including Manor. Both teams are similar. You know, they don't have the biggest rosters, but they have a lot of playmakers all over the field. I think LBJ will win. I think it'll be close. I think LBJ plays a little bit better defense. They held Anderson to under 200 yards last week. Aaron Green, the quarterback's playing well, and Brian Batts leads a balanced running game. But watch Manor. Taj Brooks is an outstanding sophomore running back with offers from Tulsa and SMU already. And with Jeremy Fowler and Ochon Mathis, the TCU pledge in the front seven, Manor plays pretty good defense too. Should be close. I like LBJ.
I'm picking LBJ too, and it's kind of funny, TJ. We always knew about the LBJ-Reagan rivalry. We've known that for years and years. But I think at LBJ, they consider Manor just as big a rivalry as Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the Jackson Bowl.
Absolutely.
You know, Coach Andrew Jackson is from Manor. His brother, Sad, coached at Manor. His other brother, Tim, is the PA guy at Manor. So it's kind of a homecoming of sorts, even though the game's in Austin.
And I'm going to give LBJ the edge on defense. I think is going to win the game. They blanked Anderson in the first half the other day. They won easily. Let's go. We're both going with LBJ.
Yeah.
Here's going to be a good one. Temple, Cedar Ridge, at Cedar Ridge.
Yeah, Temple's a really good team. Now, what's interesting, I look at common opponents. Both these teams have played Waco Midway. Temple lost 40-28. Cedar Ridge lost 34-19. You know, very similar results. I think Temple's going to win. I think Xavier Johnson, the receiver, is going to make just one too many plays for Cedar Ridge. I like the Cedar Ridge team. I like Ezekiel Koss at quarterback. Simi Bakaria is over 300 yards rushing. Their defense is pretty solid. Tight game, but I think Temple makes enough plays to win.
I think Cedar Ridge might be the most underrated Central Texas high school football team. Last year they were 10-2. The year before they were 11-1. They're playing at home. Like you said, they've lost to a same common opponent, but I think the home field advantage. They have 3 running backs that had more than 50 yards last week, so they're going to try and keep it on the ground. Mild upset, I'm going with Cedar Ridge. Lake Travis, still can't figure them out. They're at Hendrickson. You tell me.
You know, on paper, Lake Travis has played Hendrickson 9 times, and they've beaten them 9 times, and it's never been close. It's been double-digit wins every time. But something about this Hendrickson team, I think they have the best defensive secondary in the area with Clayton Perrin, Tobias Harris, Miles Brooks. Their pass rush is really good with J.K. Epke and Curly Young and Michael Ike. And Lake Travis's defense has struggled. I still think Lake Travis wins at the field, but I think it'll be really close. And, you know, this field thing, speaking of the Pflugerville schools, they're 0-4 at the field so far. So Hendrickson needs to get a win to kind of get that monkey off the back with playing at the field.
I'm going to go with Lake Travis because I learned my lesson that you never pick against Lake Travis unless they're playing Judson. But the good news for Lake Travis is they're averaging 48 points a game this year. The bad news is they're giving up 47 points a game this year. I'm looking for special teams to be the difference. Watch out for Nathan Perotti, the undersized cornerback for Lake Travis, makes plays in the defensive backfield, but he scored a touchdown on special teams last week. Special teams is going to do it. Lake Travis will win.
And you know, in a tight game like that, having a guy like Cameron Dicker as your kicker, like Lake Travis has, the UT commit, that could be the difference in the game.
Last but not least, what I consider the game of the weekend, Westlake against Bowie at Chaparral Stadium.
Yeah, again, on paper, you think Westlake, which was ranked 5th in the latest poll, you give them the advantage, but then Westlake's schedule hasn't been that great. You know, the teams they've played, aside from that Niceville, Florida team, which was way overmatched, Westlake's opponents only have 2 wins. Bowie will be the best team that Westlake plays this year. Bowie has receivers in Isaiah Santiago, Elijah Higgins. Trinidad Sanders has taken over at quarterback for the injured Matthew Wheeler, and he's run for 212 yards and passed for another 435 yards. Matthew Wheeler may be back for Bowie, but if he's not, I think Trinidad Sanders can still carry a load. I think Nakia Watson will be too much I think Westlake will win, but Bowie won't make it easy.
I'm going to give it to Westlake. Westlake won it last year, 35-21. That was Bowie's only loss in the regular season. They wound up going 12-2, I believe it was. So got to hand it to Jeff Abels. He won his 100th game last year, but I still think the tradition of Westlake playing at home, Nakia Watson, and that defense at Westlake may be the best defense in Central Texas. So I'm going to go with Westlake, and who knows, we could get an upset for Bowie.
Yeah, and you know, these two teams have been playing forever. And for the first, 19 times Westlake won, they dominated this series. But since Bowie got that first win in 07, they've won 3 other games. So I think that mystique of Westlake is gone for Bowie. Bowie will be confident. I just don't know if they can slow down Watson enough.
All right, TJ, again, thanks for joining us for the High School Blitz. Stay with us next week, and throughout the season we're going to be here chatting and probably getting most of our games wrong like TJ normally does, but always get them all right.
Yeah.
But until that happens, may your favorite team win.